Hi, this is Beverly with the Intuitive Interior, and it's October 2025. Time for your I Ching reading. This is a forecast. I'm not saying all these things are going to happen, but this is a general idea of what the energy is going to look like from October the 8th until November the 6th. Again, the Chinese astrology goes based upon the lunar cycles and the solar cycles, actually, the solar cycles. Um, so the energy for October, starting on the 8th, is the Yang Fire Dog. So this image shows a very happy black dog with some white spots jumping over a bright red fence that is has been he just ran through a field of sunflowers, and his little dog house is in the back, and the sun is shining and there are mountains behind him. He's just a very, very happy dog. And I think that's lovely. The tagline on this particular card is called Redefine Your Boundaries. The yang fire symbol is that of the sun. Think of the sun, it never stops. It always is there. It comes up in the east and sets in the west, and it's just the constancy of that provides the good bookend, the boundaries of each day. The dog energy, it holds the underlying energy of earth, of yin earth. So it is one of, again, regeneration, of growth, of constancy. It is it thrives on consistency, and it likes I'm sorry, did I say yin earth? I meant to say yang earth. So like mountain, which is again why you have the mountain in the background of this. So there's a lot of activity, yang earth and yang fire together. Um, it's those are very active, outward moving signs and symbols. So what this combination means from that particular card, from reading of this book here, it talks about, again, we talked a little bit about boundaries. What are your boundaries this month? Look at, where are you needing to expand those boundaries? Where have you been letting those boundaries get a little squishy? So now is a good month to take stock of that. Now, when I move from the Bazi, which is the Chinese astrology, over to the I Ching, when I do that combination of that yang fire and the dog element, it comes up with the card number 52. It's called Keeping Still. This image is that of a Buddha who is in deep meditation, your basic concept of what you think a Buddha does. Keeping still has double yang earth energy. It is really about grounding into that wisdom of the mountain, that wisdom that we carry within us all the time. The words on the bottom of this card are meditation, self-renewal, composure, detachment, self-acceptance, equanimity, and serenity. Now, you might think, oh, okay, so this is going to be a super simple month. It's going to be real nice. We're just going to be all nice and relaxed. No, I'm going to say no. The reason why we meditate is so that we can maintain our grounding when chaos is happening all around us. I personally have an intuition that October is going to be very active, especially because of that dog month. Last year was a dragon year. Dragon and dog are on the opposite sides of the compass. And when you have something on the opposite side of the compass, that means it's a clash, it's a conflict. There's that tug of war that kind of pushes and pulls. Again, I use the sandpaper analogy. I've used this many times on this channel. It is maybe the sandpaper is really nice and it just adds a high gloss and makes everything shine even more. Or it can be really rough and it can be taking the bark off the trees. It can kind of level things a little bit. So think about what was going on last year with all of that dragon energy. And now you have this dog conflict energy coming up. There could be some shifting of things that may have happened last year. If you personally have dragon in your chart, then that also could lead to some transformation, especially if you have, let's see, the opposite of the fire element is the water element. If you are a water dragon at any part of the four pillars in your chart, look for opportunities for transformation. This can mean it could be a promotion. You might find an opportunity to move. You might find a new partner. You could also be given the opportunity to find a new job. You might be given the opportunity to really evaluate if where you're living is the right place. You might have to find a new roommate. Um, or you could say, I think I need to completely just shave my head and start all over with this whole hairdo thing. That's the kind of radical things that can happen when there's that conflict. I'm more than happy to advise people on some of the things that are happening. I'll put a link in the show notes below so you can book a session if you like. Now, again, meditation. The reason why meditation is so important is it kind of takes you out of the day-to-day activities of just living. I loved the one of the paragraphs in my oracle book here. It says this: without this periodic withdrawal, it is easy to become overly identified with one's position and place in the hubbub of worldly affairs and begin to call it me. And unfortunately, once you start to believe that life revolves only around serving the demands of this me, the real treasures of you are being lost. Me believes that life's meaning lies in doing. And if you follow the dictates of that belief, you're taken on a long and frustrating journey to achieve something that in the end only takes you away from your own truth. And, the older I get, the more I realize that the me that I was to the outside world isn't always the me that is inside. So I highly recommend Insight Timer as a meditation app, but there are so many other options out there. Now, the next clarifying card, I was actually very excited when I drew these today. October is going to be a very different month than what we've seen in quite a while. So the first clarifying card here is number 15. It's called Modesty. What looks like a young Asian woman with in kind of a prayer position, but around her, she has a lot of flowers, a lot of beauty surrounding her. The words on this are moderation, humility, keep it simple, lack of pretension, self-respect, sincerity, and respectability. What makes this particular card so intriguing is that it addresses this idea that most humans come into this world and are told that we're special. We're all told, especially, not necessarily my generation, but the generation of my kids. We always heard the stories about, oh, everybody gets a participation trophy because everybody's special. Everybody's a genius. And yes, everybody does have their own type of genius, but not everybody is designed to live in that rarefied atmosphere all the time. This card is telling us to start to appreciate the mundane, the simple, the uh, um, normal, the ordinary. That's how we then can understand and really appreciate when the extraordinary comes up. Because let's face it, most of our lives are, well, they're all revolving around the boring, the standard stuff of, okay, I'm going to make dinner, I'm going to do laundry, go out and get the mail. The majority of life does not have it, is more of that even ground. um Another thing that this card discusses is to be aware when you start to get trapped in extremes. And I think most of the people, certainly in the U.S. right now, and many other countries too, so not just me, but we can see around across the world that there are pockets of extremes. We've got the extreme right, we've got the extreme left, or however that's showing up on your camera, and it really boxes you in when you stay in one of those extremes. Think about a bell curve. You have this big bell that starts at the top and it gradually curves down, and then it comes and flares out to the bottom. So, living in that bell curve really is where the magic can happen, because that's where we are literally are at our most expansive. Um, when you are like decluttering, that's why decluttering feels so good, because you're adding space, you're releasing yourself from the prison that you created with having too much stuff. When you are looking at your like calendar, giving yourself some white space allows you to, that ability maybe to do some of that meditation so that you can get in touch with your inner self. Perhaps looking at some of your friend groups. Maybe you've got some friend groups or some other things that you've committed to that, well, they're kind of sucking the energy away from you, and you don't have anything left over for any of the other things that you like. So this is about, so modesty doesn't necessarily mean, covering up and, dressing so that no skin is showing. It is looking at the moderation of your life so that you can enjoy the simple things. Now, the focus line on this particular card is line number 6. And line number 6 is the one that talks about taking this new attitude out into the world. It says, you are being asked, either by others or through your own intuition, to take matters in hand, which may require taking a leadership role. To deny this by claiming unworthiness would be misplaced modesty and self-indulgence. The demands of the time are such that you must be clear and decisive in your own thinking. So take the time to consider what is needed and then be 100% available for what must be done. I think we all know people who crave leadership. They go out of their way to convince others that they're the only ones who can fix it. They're the only ones who can, head up this project. They're the only ones who know how to do certain things, when in fact, that's not always true. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. But it's typically the best leaders are the ones that don't actively seek it out. They simply show up, and their presence gives people that comfort. They get their presence, that groundedness of the humility of, oh, I may not know everything, but I know who to ask. That's what this card is talking about. Okay, the next one is card 37. We haven't had this one in quite a while. It's called the family. And you can see there's this beautiful grid of faces, young and old, black, white, all the colors in between, men, women, All of us are humanity. We are all family. We all have this glorious opportunity to share the planet together. This is card number 37, and it has uh, it really, what this is talking about here on the bottom is hereditary or heredity, blood bonds, kindred spirits, ancestry, home life, community, intimate relationships, and one human family. Because this has the fire element in there as well as that yin wood element, that the growth, the you need support. Yin wood is like a vine, you need support. Um, in the warmth of that fire in there, it's talking about that, the home fires. We've heard that, you've got to keep the home fires burning because we all crave a home. That's why we form tribes. That's why we form clubs. That's why some people are drawn to groups that can feel a little culty to those who aren't part of it. I personally have been, no, I'm not really accused, but the comment was made that the gym I go to, F45, has quite a loyal following. And some people have said, oh, it's the cult of F45. No, it's just because that gives me pleasure. It gives me, um, it gives me it's pleasure. I'm just going to say that. Okay, and some sore muscles. Um, but it builds great bone density. Anyway, the thing that we have to remember though is because our heredity line, our genetic inheritance, our ancestors are those who we have built our lives on. Those experiences, those mistakes have all impacted us somehow. There's the concept of epigenetics, that it is a inherited belief system, inherited patterns. I look at sometimes at my hand movements and how a cousin will have very similar hand gestures. We weren't raised in the same family, but we have that same lineage. When we can look back at the mistakes that were made, acknowledge them, and endeavor to avoid them, that's how we honor our ancestors. And conversely, there's some really kick ass people that we're related to. Let's honor them too. Let's embrace it all and strive to do better than was before. That's the only way that we as a species are going to be able to move forward. Um, it says here, if we remain entrenched with our collective inheritance of aggression, fear, and separation, we will bring to a standstill the life as we know it. Um, Many cultures talk about a time where, well, things are just not going to go well. And that kind of was predicted to be around this early 21st century. I mean, come on. The rapture was supposed to happen last week. Did it? No. Did a lot of people get disappointed? Absolutely. Were a lot of people amused? Of course. But that belief that it was all done, that motivated a lot of folks to really get focused on doing certain things. Now, I'm not advocating for the rapture. What I am advocating for is kindness and acknowledging that our days on this planet are finite. When that's going to happen, I don't know. So live your life from a place of integrity so that your legacy, when people think about you, your legacy is one of abundance, of joy, of compassion, of being a helper. This focus line number 3 is about the bottom three numbers, 1, 2, and 3, are about the personal development. Because this is the number 3, this is where you're really getting to a point where you've internalized what your legacy wants, what you want it to be. What is it that your voice wants to share with others? So this says a lax attitude at home or at work is creating an undercurrent of permissiveness, creating the opportunity for certain individuals to take more and more for granted. It is essential to take a firm stand now, or matters will soon spin out of control. Be sharp and clear and decisive. If your method is overly forceful, it might wound others, but even that is preferable to ignoring the problem and everyone suffering for it later. Oh, those are the hard conversations that need to be had, whether it is with family members of blood, family members by choice, or other people within organizations that you're a part of. It's time to take a stand and say something. Have the hard conversation. Don't shy away from it. That's also part of reinforcing the boundaries. Remember, we talked about the boundaries right at the very beginning? Yes, this is how you practice. Practice having the hard conversations with your family so that you can then know how to be kind about having them with those that are not related to you by blood. The final card, I'm so excited. This one has never come up. So this is yay. This one is number 46, pushing upward. On there, we see a couple of mushrooms. One mushroom is up above and it's pushed out of the soil. It is fully formed. And there's another one that is just coming up past the top soil. Pushing upward has elements of yin wood and yin earth. So again, it's a lot of growth, but it's again that mushrooms require softer soil to come up. This says steady progress, gaining confidence, accepting challenges, a promotion, and receiving recognition. Yay! All the hard work that we've done. There are certain things this month that it's going to be easy for it to actually get rewarded for it. This basically says don't push too hard. It's just, you can just, like the mushroom, you just kind of come up. There you go. Here it is. Enjoy the river as it's moving. Stay in tune to what your progress, where your progress is taking you. But it also says to stay grounded. Don't get caught up in the emotional euphoria, because that will, make things swirl, and you will, it will be difficult to notice where you're going on this path. Says the progress that has brought this time about can continue unabated if you are willing and able to stay in tune with events as they occur without getting ahead of yourself. Without getting ahead of yourself. That's the challenge. I like to plan. I typically look at things and go, oh, well, what can I do to avoid this situation? What should I do in order to bring this other situation to me? That's not the month. This is not the month for that. This is the month for staying focused, knowing that the divine timing is working in your favor. The other thing too is, it says, this is the moment to reach for the stars. Be courageous and anchor yourself in the rich soil of goodwill that supports you, and accept your good fortune with gratitude. It also says to take care to maintain a balance within yourself, in your activities, and in your relations with others. Otherwise, the present surge of enthusiasm might degenerate into a workaholic addiction, and that's not a very good, that is taking you out of balance. It's really funny because I'm recording this actually later in the evening than I ever typically work. Is that me being a workaholic right now, or is that me simply being enthusiastic about wanting to make sure I get this accomplished and get that to-do list done? Yeah, sometimes you do have to work a little bit later. That's fine, as long as it's not all the time. This focus line 2 is again really bringing things directly into the heart. So this is a you that being a very, internalizing all of this again, where meditation is going to help. It says you've been carrying a treasure others might that let me start over. You've been carrying a treasure that might have gone unrecognized up till now, either because of your own modesty or because others have been looking for more obvious talents. Now you might find yourself suddenly appreciated for qualities that you didn't even know you had or knew, but have long taken for granted. It might throw you a little off balance at first, but what a pleasant surprise! Don't make a fuss about it, even when others might be making a fuss over you. All that's needed is that you keep on being who you are. We had modesty at the one of the first cards. Being overly modest is denying the world of your gifts. Pushing upwards is a really great reminder that we all carry genius. Allow that to come forward. Embrace it. Don't apologize for those special gifts. I found myself even earlier today talking to somebody about uh, an expansion into another part of her business and feeling a little uncomfortable with incorporating some energetic tools into it. You are not doing the world any favors by denying the fullness of who you are. Embrace it, own it, and share it because we all need to benefit from it. That's what I've got for everybody today. Again, this energy begins on October the 8th and goes through November the 6th. There will be some bleed through of this that first week of October. So don't be surprised if things feel a little, push-pulley right now. Just embrace it. Notice when you're starting to feel overwhelmed. And if you haven't taken my class yet on energy, personal energy protection, I can teach you those energy hygiene tips on Sunday, October the 5th. I'll have a link in the show notes. This is a great opportunity for you to learn how to disconnect from all the energies around you, how to stay grounded, how to stay protected, and being able to really hear the information that the creator source, all that is trying to share with you. It is right before all this stuff happens, and it's really nice to have that level of integrity, of energetic integrity, so that when you do go into meditation, you know that you're getting your messages and not what other people want you to be listening to, because that's also what happens when we aren't shielding properly. You find yourself kind of at the mercy of other people. We don't need that. We have enough on our own plate. We don't need to let other people control us. All right, I hope that helps. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to reading all the comments. Have a great day, and please like and share and subscribe.